Hi everyone and welcome back to Googie's Kitchen, and if you are new here then hello and welcome. My name's Alexis and I post 2 videos a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday at 7 AM. So if you love recipe videos like this one and you want to see more, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And now I'm going to share with you how to make my delicious oven baked salmon, rosemary and garlic with vegetable quinoa. As I just mentioned, today I want to share with you how to make my oven baked salmon, rosemary and garlic with vegetable quinoa. Now this recipe is really easy to do and it's great for a midweek meal, and it's also a fantastic weekend dish as well. If you're having friends coming over, then this is a brilliant one to serve. It's also a great one for a family, and it's also brilliant for singles as well. It's super tasty, it has loads of vegetables in it as well, so it's packed full of goodness and it will feed you and your family, I have no doubts. So we're going to be having it for dinner this evening, and while we were cooking it I thought I'd share the recipe with you. So here is how to make my oven baked salmon, rosemary and garlic with vegetable quinoa. First thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 200 degrees. While my oven is preheating, I'm going to cook the quinoa. So I've put a large pan onto a high heat, and I'm going to add some oil to the base of that pan, like so. And I'm going to spread it around, like so, and then I'm just going to leave this pan now to heat up. So my pan is getting nice and hot, and as you can see here I have peeled, sliced and diced 1 onion that I'm going to put in the base of the pan, and I've peeled and sliced it and diced it very thinly as well, and I would recommend it to be little pieces basically. The rest of the vegetables will also be in little pieces too, so it just makes it easier to eat, and it's not for any particular reason, but I just really thought that it would be easier to eat if you made it into smaller pieces. Normally I would grate food because my son isn't a great vegetable fan. So I normally grate food or I chop it into very small pieces. So I actually really like food when it's chopped into very small pieces. It actually helps it to caramelise quite well at the base of the pan. So I'm going to fry these onions now until they start to soften. So my onions have started to soften and they're starting to go slightly brown. So I'm just going to turn the heat down slightly, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to the base of the pan, like so, and that will hopefully help everything to unstick. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some butternut squash. So I have peeled and cut into very small chunks, as you can see here, about 200 grams of butternut squash, and I actually peeled the butternut squash with a vegetable peeler as well. And I just find that the easiest way to peel butternut squash, to get the skin off. So, and then I chopped it into very small chunks, and I'm just going to fry this now until this starts to soften, but it doesn't need to be too soft. It will take a little while for this to soften as well, so please don't think you've gone wrong anywhere. It does take a while for harder vegetables to soften in a pan. But this is taking a while to soften, so I'm just going to turn the heat back up slightly, and I'm going to continue stirring these. It's starting to soften around the edges, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the rest of my vegetables. So on my chopping board I have 1 red pepper that I chopped the top off and I removed the core and the stalk, so I'm going to add that in. I've also got 2 carrots that I've peeled, sliced and diced as well, as you can see, into very small pieces. And I've also got 1 courgette that I peeled and sliced as well. You don't have to peel the courgette or the carrot if you don't want to, but I just like peeling it. I prefer it without skin for some reason, I don't know why. And I think my husband and son do as well. So yeah, I'm just going to pop these into my frying pan if I don't spill it everywhere else, like so. So in that goes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue frying these now until these start to soften as well. So this has taken me a good 5 minutes, so the vegetables have started to soften beautifully now. And what I am going to do is I'm going to add my quinoa in. So I have about half the amount I suggested in the original recipe. This is simply because I'm serving this to Ted, Howard and myself this evening. So I'm making this for 2.5 or 2 and a little one. So I've done half the ingredients and a little bit extra. And what I'm going to do is I am going to add the quinoa to the pan. I'm just going to turn the heat down slightly again. And I'm going to stir all of the quinoa into the vegetables like so, and then I'm going to add chicken stock, or you can add vegetable stock as well. So I think I have about 500 mils of chicken stock here. This may not be enough chicken stock, I have to say. I don't think that's going to be enough chicken stock, so what I'm going to probably have to do is just to add a bit of water to that as well. You can just judge it. What I normally do is I normally put the spoon in the bottom. Oh no, that's probably about enough, I'd say. And if it marks up to about 2 centimetres, if you can feel the base of where the quinoa sits, and it marks up to about 2 centimetres, I'd say that's about 2 centimetres, then that is perfect, that amount of stock in there. And if you need any extra, then you can just add it at the end. So I'm going to leave this to come to the boil now. The vegetable quinoa has started to boil, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a pinch or 2 of salt to this, and I'm also going to add a little bit of pepper as well, like so. And then I'm going to just stir that again once more. And I'm going to turn the heat down to low, so to a medium heat I'd say. I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to leave this to simmer while I go and deal with the salmon now. While my quinoa is cooking and my oven has preheated, I'm going to put the salmon in. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm cooking this for 2 and a little one, but the little one will eat a whole piece of salmon, I promise you. So I'm going to put 3 pieces of salmon into a baking tray, and then to that baking tray, this is so simple, I'm going to add some fresh rosemary. We grow rosemary in the garden, but you can buy this in the supermarket. I have seen it in bags. So if you can't get fresh, then you could use dried, but I'd only use a teaspoon because dried is actually quite strong. And then I've got about 8 to 10 cloves of garlic that I'm going to put round the salmon. And then I've just got a little bit of olive oil that I'm going to put on each piece. So I'm just going to spread some olive oil over the salmon. And then I'm going to put this into my oven for about 15 to 20 minutes now. The quinoa has cooked. I did have to add about 200 mils of water to it though. It cooked quite quickly at quite a rapid rate, so I also turned the heat down a little bit, and towards the end I just started stirring it like I'm doing now, and it's cooked perfectly now. So I'm going to take this off the heat, and my salmon is cooked. So I'm going to serve up now. As I said earlier, my salmon is cooked. It's falling away from itself. The flesh is falling away from itself. So I'm going to take this out of the oven. That's how you make my delicious oven baked salmon, rosemary and garlic with vegetable quinoa, and that recipe I will link in the description box below for you. As I always say in these videos, I'm off to eat this now because it smells so good, I can't wait. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.